Welcome. This is a 30-minute awareness through movement session called Softening the Contraction. And the theme of today's session is unwinding a habitual stress pattern. And for a lot of people, that is tension in the jaw, often in the tongue as well, a shortened breath, maybe a forward head, closed arms, and narrowed focus. So today we're going to be finding the contrast with an open, non-judgmental state in the body. So this lesson is based on the Feldenkrais method, which is a practice that is designed to help you get fully acquainted with your current range of movements, but also open you up to the possibility of new types of movements that will help you move with more ease and in different ways that support your sleep and your life better. So the basic premise of the Feldenkrais method is that you're always going to be moving within your zone of comfort. There is no effort required, and if you feel at any point that the movements that I'm suggesting require you to put in effort that feels uncomfortable, please scale it down. I invite you to always move in a comfortable way within your range of comfort and ease. And there's going to be quite a few repetitive movements, and I invite you to ease into it. And if you feel like dozing off, that is okay, but I invite you, if possible, to stay awake so that you're present for the movements and you're present to the small changes that will be occurring in your body. So today we're going to be starting off in a lying position, lying on the back. And you can do this on the bed, but I encourage you, if possible, to do this on the floor, on a comfortable mat. If you want, you can possibly place a thin pillow underneath your head if that feels better. If you're cold, of course, put a blanket on top. But just settle in, have your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And if for any reason lying down isn't available for you, you can take a seated position in a chair for the entire lesson and adapt it to that. So take a moment to settle in, lying on your back, and let your knees be bent, feet flat, about hip distance apart. And take a moment to let go of any tension that it required to get here. And bring your attention to the places where your body meets the floor. Notice the back of your head, your shoulder blades, your ribs, your pelvis, your feet. Notice which points feel like they're making full contact, and notice which other points maybe feel lighter, like they're barely touching the floor. Now follow your breath. Just notice the small movements that your breath makes when you inhale and when you exhale. There's nothing to change here, simply notice. Where do you feel it first? When you inhale, is it in the chest, in the belly, maybe in the side of your ribs, and potentially all the way down to the pelvis? And notice if the breath is short or high, whatever that may mean for you, or if it has full room to move through and across your body. And bring your attention to your jaw. And I want you to notice, are you holding it, even if slightly? Is there any tension that you could actively let go of? And what is your tongue doing right now? Is it pressed up towards the roof of your mouth, or is it maybe resting low and soft? Now notice your eyes behind your closed eyelids. Are your eyes still, or are they moving, maybe darting from left to right? Do they feel wide or narrowed? So take one more breath here and let this be your starting point. Whatever you find in this opening scan is simply information. Now bring your attention back to your mouth. Very, very slowly and gently, let your jaw drop open just a little so that your teeth separate. And then let it close. So do this a few times, very slowly and very small movements. And noticing what parts of you have to release in order for the jaw to drop. And do that a few times. Letting your jaw drop open and letting it close. Now bring your tongue into it. As the jaw opens, let the tongue slowly lower and rest on the floor of your mouth instead of pressing up. So you gently open your mouth and your tongue drops. And as you close, your tongue stays low. Repeat this slowly and without too much effort several times. And now let that go. Pause and rest. Just sitting in stillness or lying in stillness. And notice what changed in your face, in the sensation of your face and your self-image after only this small movement. Now I invite you to add a small sound if you're comfortable with it. As you exhale, let a soft hum or sigh come out. Mouth slightly open, tongue low. So as you open your mouth and exhale, let a soft hum or sigh out of your mouth. So you don't need to be performing the sound, just let it happen on the breath that you're already releasing. And do this within your frame of comfort 3 or 4 times. Okay, now let that go and rest. Let your jaw be however it wants to be now. And notice the difference between the jaw you have now and the one that you started with. Now I invite you to bring one hand on your belly and one to your chest. Just take a few normal breaths, not changing anything in particular, and notice which hand moves more. Now, without forcing it, direct your next few breaths so that the belly hand rises first and then the chest hand follows. And let the exhale be slow and complete. And do this a few times in an unhurried way. Maybe you will feel this as a wave. So allowing the belly hand to rise first, and then the chest hand follows. And you can take your time to bring your hands down by your sides. And as you continue breathing, feel for your breath in your back ribs, the ones that are in contact with the floor. See if you can feel them widen slightly on the inhale, pressing gently into the floor and softening on the exhale. And just notice how far down yourself you can feel the breath travel. Does it reach your pelvis at all? And there's no need to force this. Just notice if it's available for you today. And take a rest. Drop that and let the breath return to its own rhythm. And notice its shape now compared to the opening scan. And then I invite you to bring your attention to your hands. Slowly open and close each hand into a loose fist. One movement at a time, slowly, slower than you would like. And notice the sensation of the palm gently closing into a loose fist and gently opening back up. And do this a few times. See how slow and with how much ease can you do this. There's no end destination. Just take your time to open and close and see what kind of images this creates for you. And let that go. Now bring your hands together at the center of your body, resting one hand on top of the other, or they can be lightly interlaced, whatever feels more natural for you. And let your hands rest on your belly or chest. Notice the weight and the temperature of your hands against your body. This is a touch anchor, something to come back to anytime your hands need something to hold on to instead of tensing. So just take a few moments to take in the sensations of your hands warmly resting on your belly or chest. And if you like, you can slowly, with as much tenderness as comes naturally to you, massage one hand with the other. Maybe the thumb circles into the palm. Maybe you're moving along the length of each finger. And take your time to explore one hand before you switch hands and do the same on the other side. Taking your time here. Maybe there's a particular spot on the hand that feels really good to massage. See if you can remain with a deep and slow and relaxed breath as you do this. And then when you're done with that, I invite you to rest with your hands resting together again, either on your belly or on your chest. And notice if your shoulders or chest have changed at all in their shape or feeling since you started this. Are they touching the floor differently? Or is the floor pushing up into you differently? And now notice, how is your head resting on the floor right now? Is it tilted forward or back? Is one side making more contact with the floor than the other? And if you want, you can gently roll your head from side to side, ever so slowly, not even going to your full range, just to find what is your place of comfort here. And very slowly, nod your chin down to your chest, just a small amount, very tiny. Then let it return to neutral. And repeat this movement slowly, several times, keeping the movement as small as possible, almost imperceptible. And then come to the center. And now turn your head slightly to one side and then back to center. And then slightly to the other side and back to center. And keep repeating this a few times, small movements without any strain. And just notice if one direction feels easier than the other. Okay. And now pause in the middle and let your head feel heavy and fully supported by the floor. Imagine that the weight of your head is being carried entirely by the surface beneath it, and you're holding nothing in your body. How would your body feel different if you realize that the floor is fully supporting you? So rest here a few moments and notice the back of your neck. Has the length of it changed since the beginning of the lesson? Okay. And now with your eyes still closed, allow your eyes to move very slowly, very softly to the left, and then return to center, and then very softly and with as much ease as possible take them to the right and back to center. And do this movement from left, unhurried, back to center, to the right, back to center. See if you can do it not in a jaggedy way or in an eyes darting kind of way. Just see if you can do this in a soft, flowy sensation. And let that go. Now let your eyes soften, and you can do this either with eyes gently open or still closed. But softening your eyes means imagine that you are looking at something far away rather than something close and specific. And imagine widening your visual field. taking in more space rather than a single narrow point. It's completely possible to soften your eyes even when they are closed, even when you're just in your imagination looking at something far away and allowing your peripheral vision to widen. And in case your eyes were closed, just for a moment open them and let your gaze rest on the ceiling without focusing on any one spot. And for the next few breaths, practice keeping a soft, wide gaze. How much of your ceiling or whatever it is that you're seeing in front of you can you take in rather than seeking it out with a narrow gaze? Keep it wide and soft. Okay, and take a moment to close your eyes again, let that go, and rest. Notice if your whole face has changed in the last few minutes, not just your eyes. Now bring your attention back to the points of contact with the floor. Take a moment to notice all of the points of view that are touching the ground. And compare them to the sensation you might remember from the beginning. Is more of your back in contact with the floor now? And follow your breath again. Notice the shape that your body creates when you breathe, where your breath is located. Notice the pace, and is it different from when you started? And notice your jaw, the tongue in your mouth, your hands, your head, your eyes. Just notice them one by one, without rushing, just registering what is there now. And when you're ready, slowly roll to one side, whichever side feels better for you, and pause there for a moment. Take a couple of breaths here. And use your hands in your own time to bring yourself up to sitting. Take it slowly. There is nowhere to rush, and there's no need to undo the relaxation you just created. If your eyes were closed, take a moment to blink them open. And let your eyes adjust to the room before you move on with your day. And before you go on to whatever is your next task, as you take your time to fully sit and then come to standing, I invite you to take a few moments to simply stand in an upright position and just feel how you are in that relationship to gravity. How your weight is supported by the floor, how much uprightness you might have in your body. And take a few slow and controlled steps, really feeling into every step that you make how every toe touches the ground. And then slowly get on with your day, hopefully in a more relaxed manner, more connected to the physical cues that tell your body that it does not need to be tense. Have a wonderful day.